12 years ago, I stumbled across paganism.
Amongst pagans, you have witches. Witches belong to a religion of witchcraft. That means a nature-based faith in which magic is practiced as part of its celebration and ceremony.
People call us Satanists and all sorts of things associated with the viewer's point of view.
In the African sense of things, the word witch and witchcraft means harmful magical practices.
It leads to a lot of persecution. The Constitution of South Africa and the Bill of Rights enshrined in the Constitution guarantees every citizen of South Africa the right to freedom, religion and belief. You may not make libelous and slanderous remarks against members of a religion that is officially recognized, enshrined in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of South Africa.
Join me, Elizabeth Marshall, as we take a road trip through the South African psyche, taking you to the edge of society's norms and beyond. It's time for Tales from the Edge.
In my travels, I've come to realize that religion is something very personal. To Luke, when he joined the School of Arts, it was the unraveling of his beliefs as a Jehovah's Witness that led him to the very fluid belief system that is paganism. It's time to let the fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Once this questioning process began, it took on a life of its own. I began visiting different churches, the Mormon temple, the mosque, going to the imam's house, having dinner with them, asking them to explain the Quran, their concepts, visiting Hindu temples all over the country and questioning and finding out that there is in fact a myriad of belief systems in this life.
Thank you, Guru. Could you please explain to me what Hinduism is about?
The whole purpose of our way of life is unity in diversity. We do not see one or the other any different. Whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, all faiths lead on a single path to the hub.
The year was 1985, and an 18-year-old Luke was called up to the army. He refused to comply for ethical reasons and was subsequently prosecuted by the South African Defence Force. He was sentenced to 6 years.
It disabled me. A friend of a friend took me to this person that facilitated a journey for me. The journey lasted about 12 hours. It began where I was crucified and was disassociated from myself, looking at myself from another perspective. Basically, to live. The journey took me out of the room, out of the city, out of the country, into our galaxy, beyond our galaxy, and beyond our universe. I experienced beings. I would describe them as light beings, and ultimately I received a message. Service to mankind is service to God. That by helping others, one is serving the divine purpose. A profoundly life-changing journey. that took me from a prison self to a free self. 12 years ago, I stumbled across paganism.
Paganism is a nature-based religion. Okay, a lot of pagans will add that it's a pre-Christian religion. It is, most of the pagan traditions are based on pre-Christian religions and traditions, but most of them are eclectic in nature and modern.
This immediately rang very, very large bells within myself.
Amongst pagans, you have witches. Not all pagans are witches, but witches are, generally speaking, in the European sense of the word, they are pagans.
I was formally initiated into a pagan path. It was another one of those milestone events in life. It was the most beautiful setting in the forest. The sounds of animals, creatures around us, and the wind soughing through the trees. The ritual implements of pagan culture that set the scene for the subconscious realms, the subconscious mind that appreciates and realizes things on a level that the conscious mind doesn't appreciate. Precious Luna, Queen of Darkness, hear our voice as we raise power and dedication in thy honor. Thou who walketh the sky by day and by night, thou art the soul of nature, through which exits the old and cometh the new. In thee we find beauty.
Paganism is, and I don't really like to utilize this term, but it conveys the picture, it's like an umbrella term under which there are many different traditions. Like in Christianity, you have Christianity and you have Baptists, Methodists, Catholics, and so forth. Paganism is basically about learning to live life well. The celebration of the festivals celebrate the seasons as well as the seasons in the life of man. Now, all traditions have different rituals, so I can't say to you that this is the way it is, but there are 8 festivals in a year which celebrate things like harvest, the birth of the sun, the death of the sun, fertility, the marriage between the Lord and Lady, which is the union of the masculine and the feminine principle in life, without which nothing can exist.
As man must meet with woman,
for the continuity of life,
conjoined they become one truth.
People call us Satanists and all sorts of things associated with the viewer's point of view. The truth is, pagans do not acknowledge an entity such as Satan.
Satan is a Christian entity. It does not feature in our path at all. And that's about, what I'm prepared to say. I'm not in the habit of talking what I'm not about. Now, in the African sense of things, the word witch and witchcraft means harmful magical practices, the using of, say, human body parts or animal body parts for the creation of strong muti, which is then used to harm other people.
This false assumption that all forms of nature-based religions or that paganism as a whole is evil leads to this faith being extremely persecuted within some communities.
The Bill of Rights, enshrined in the Constitution, guarantees every citizen of South Africa the right to freedom, religion, and belief. You may not make libelous and slanderous remarks against members of a religion that is officially recognized, enshrined in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of South Africa.
Luke works as a paramedic and is head of Nelspruit's Emergency Medical Services. He demonstrates a real passion for helping people. The job, however rewarding as it may be, comes with its own emotional baggage.
We are put in sometimes very difficult situations, very trying circumstances whereby it becomes taxing to even perform one's duty as well as one would like to. In one particular case, we were called out to a scene where an elderly gentleman had been left alone for an unknown period of time, but to a degree where he'd gotten pressure sores all over the posterior of his body, and he was literally being eaten alive by maggots. The neighbours couldn't stomach the stench anymore, and therefore they called us in.
Wow, that day I remember very well, the day that I won't forget. Because I remember when the control center or dispatched one of our crew members, they went there. Within 30 minutes, they have to activate me or for backup for the same call. Then I went there.
I'll push the back for long.
When I get there, yes, there were crowded people outside. It was difficult for us to get there because police were not there. That means we're not safe enough. But my main concern and my main worry was the patient on the other side, the innocent patient.
Okay, I received a call that I must come and assist this guy here. He's about to die, like you know, guys, he's sick, and we must help him like paramedic.
No, we don't want. This guy is killing a lot of our
uncle. It's not my father.
No. If you want to be killed, yes, treat it.
It's a witch.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you guys want him to die? Can I please go in? Maybe we're gonna call the police there. We're not gonna take him, but
no, we don't want you to come inside there. We don't want you. If you want to be killed, just come inside there.
No, seriously, okay, guys. Wait here. I must just call control first.
When we got there, the family of the patient refused us access to him and said that he is a witch and must die. We had to call out the SAPS to assist us to allow the family to let us treat this person, and the condition he was in was absolutely shocking.
I need backup here. On scene, we've got more than the crowd, the bystanders, they're refusing us to go in the scene, and the patient is there sick for more than 2 weeks. I think he's dehydrated, they need your backup to go in there.
Okay, Charlie, it's Oscar November. Right, so received 1050, apparently critical, cranial extension 6. Right, Tango 1, so received, thank you.
We have to wait for the police. I'm not going in there.
Trying to transport this patient. Unfortunately, this bystander is refusing us to take out the patient.
Okay. We've got a huge problem. There's a patient in there.
He's been there for almost like 2 weeks.
Yeah. In trouble. They want to kill us.
What do you want here?
I'll come to you.
No. We need to cease and desist. We need to take this patient out of here.
No way. No way.
You will be arrested. We will arrest you. We don't care. We don't care.
He convinced the people, the police get control over the crowd. We went in with the police to witness the scene.
These people can do their job.
Really attacked him. And one of the police, he vomited inside.
Everyone, I'm telling you.
Let's take a blood pressure.
Give me this oxygen because it open up with minutes away. Yeah, it's totally right.
It was inhumane. It's actually what I would call a human rights violation.
What's happening?
Cool. We've got a patient medical case here. Been sick for almost like 2 weeks, and still no staying with the
What's the story with these people outside here and the security
forces? I didn't
forces?
want to dwell that much on that story. I wanted to save my patient first.
Yeah, but are we safe?
We wouldn't save her for it.
What is the story?
The story has arrived on scene that you see outside. There's this family and bystanders. They accuse this patient or this man for being a witch.
Okay.
So we called for break-up. Nothing else, you guys came, so we proceeded helping him.
Alright, and who's supporting us over there? The disaster management and the SAPS?
With the police.
Okay.
This is the sort of shocking thing that I've taken upon myself as a particular calling at the moment. Such cultural human rights violations need to be addressed politically and socially by the right organs of state to put an end to this ongoing violence whereby people are being falsely accused and severely harmed, traumatized, exiled to entire villages where people accused of witchcraft have to spend the rest of their lives.
Stay back here. The people are trying to do their job. No. He killed our relative. That's witch, man. He killed our relative. Ready? More corruption, ready? Black more. Black more. Fight more. Thank you, mate. Good job. Sure. Great to see you. Good day. Okay, thanks. Good job, man.
To us, he's not just a boss. He's someone that go from being a boss into being just a leader.
Well, if we talk about Martin, we talk about a nice tall guy. He's one of my leaders. If we talk about the leader, we talk about somebody who can organize, who can lead, who can control. Well, if we talk about control, lead, organize, we talk about somebody who can lead you to a good direction. That's Mr. Martin.
Actually come to understand his religion because he's someone who's very open with us. You can always talk to him about anything. So when it comes to his religion, I mean, you have to respect the fact that we are Christians and he is Bergen, like you're saying. It's not actually different. It's not so different from us because it doesn't affect us in any way. Yeah, but it's normal. It's okay.
In our country, people are hiding behind the word witch, and they are committing crimes in a societal level, and innocent people are being harmed. People who do not identify or self-identify as witches are being harmed, killed, burnt, and this is what we're fighting for. Okay, we are fighting for the recognition that the laws of the country, say like the Human Tissues Act, should be enforced rather than allow people to hide behind a term that is actually just perpetrating centuries and centuries and thousands of years of prejudice and superstition. I mean, you can't prove witchcraft in court. You know, if I go to court and I accuse you of being a witch, how am I going to prove that? But if I've contravened the Human Tissues Act by trafficking in body parts, that is provable in court. So what we're basically saying is we're reclaiming this word as ours in order to prevent people from hiding behind it and using it as an excuse to perpetrate violence on the elderly, on the weak, on children.
Historically, witchcraft is a very negative term throughout history all over the world. Modern day witches are taking on the paradigms and aspects of what they believe to be the ancient good that such people practiced. In other words, the old lady of the village who delivered the babies, that provided the herbs to cure ailments. This is the paradigm that the modern witch has taken. Practicing art, painting, gives me the freedom and the ability to enter a zone whereby the system is not my master. One can never be a warrior, a true man, unless one is overcome. The child within. The child within is the state of being in a man that dictates his lower nature, his bestial nature, the things that we see in society continuously. Violence against women, child abuse, all the negativity we see in mankind. Yet people will always say, this is evil. You eat children, you sacrifice children, you're a Satanist. In our society, this is problematic. One always hopes that people can see beyond the picture in front of them and understand the message behind it. When the mind is active, the body must be still. When the body is active, the mind must be still. Martial arts is a science of the mind. It has the added benefits of physical propensity, but personally, that is secondary. When I go out to the shooting range, I want to put one bullet in the center of a target, hundreds of meters away. We're going to move up to the top of the range up there. It's 175 meters, and see if we can get our shot in the middle of this target. It's a distance of 175 meters. For me, it totally encompasses the philosophy of Zen Buddhism, of no mind.
I think it's safe for me to say that Luke seems to be a contradiction. But isn't it the eclectic differences in our society that makes us so real as individuals?
I live for that sort of moment, the moment whereby there is no mind and you can accomplish exactly what it is you set out to do.